Kara Zor-El escapes the dying planet of Kyrpton. She is delayed on her way to Earth. When she gets here 24 years later, she becomes Earth's newest hero, Supergirl. Welcome to the Kyrpton Report, a Supergirl podcast brought to you by Southgate Media. I am your host, Tyler Patrick, and you can find me at JTYPatrick on Twitter. So let's get started on what's going on today in the world of the Kryptonians.
Welcome to the Kyrpton Report. Sorry, it's been a while since our last episode, but summer is crazy and things happen. Today is a special episode. It's a quick review of the film Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, which has Supergirl in it, and I have a special guest. You may know him from Gotham, Before the Bat. You may know him from World's Finest, or the Flash Arrow Power Hour, or the other Marvel shows that he can tell you about. I have with you the Batman himself, Mr. Phil Parrish.
Hey everyone, what's up?
So we're going to talk about the 2010 movie, and if you're listening, you'll hear that my excited little pal, son Solomon, is in the background. He just watched the movie with me before the review, so he is excited. He just can't wait till he can actually talk so he can start podcasting with Daddy. But here we go. Phil, what is your overall thought of Batman, Superman, Apocalypse?
Well, it's crazy. I mean, it's big, it's crazy. It introduced the Kryptonian, well, in the comics, it introduced the Kryptonian Supergirl back in the, main continuity, and get the whole Apocalypse and Darkseid, so it's a big scale. You get Paradise Island. I mean, the whole thing's nuts.
I see this, for all those fans out there, this is the Supergirl story that I love the most. I love the straight Kara Zor-El, his cousin, this continuity right here. I love this version. I've read the comic. It's been a while. The Jeff Loeb comic that it's based off of. And I just thoroughly enjoy this version. Now, this movie I love because it brought, Supergirl back out. At the time that this was released, it was during the final season of Smallville, which, of course, had Supergirl return to take on, ironically, Smallville's version of Darkseid with Clark. So it was a big year for Supergirl and Darkseid.
Yeah.
Now, what I do like is that this film brings back the voice cast of some of the more iconic voices. Of course, Kevin Conroy, the true voice of Batman.
Yeah.
We have Susan Eisenberg as Wonder Woman, who everyone knows from Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, as well as a few other of the DC projects that they've had. And then Tim Daly, who did the voice of Superman during Superman, the animated. He didn't do the Justice League films or TV series, but he did the Superman animated series. So it's really awesome. I mean, they even brought back Ed Asner as Granny Goodness, which is one of the best and creepiest castings of all time.
The first time I heard that voice, I guess it was during a Superman animated series, I was like, wait a minute, that chick sounds like Ed Asner. Wait a minute.
It's Hudson from Gargoyles. What? But, so we'll get into the movie in details. The film opens with Kara's ship crashing, and none other than Gotham, which I think is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is she crawls out of her ship, unclothed, stumbles into Gotham, and just happens. Who does Supergirl meet for the first time? Dudes who want to cause trouble. And what does she have to do? She has to put them down. Exactly, Solomon. Exactly. So it picks up, we get to see, I really like the way that Superman is portrayed in this film as being the protective. He loves his family. He's cautious, but at the same time, he's very much into protecting his cousin. And even with Batman, all Batman's comments about she might not be who she says she is, we get to see a side of Batman that wants to protect Clark. He makes the comment about, Clark has powerful enemies who would go to great lengths to destroy him. So it just shows more of that friendship between Batman and Superman.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, Superman was protective of her. I mean, of course, because it's his cousin, but don't you think he would have been protective of any Kryptonian? Because up until she landed, he thought he was the last of his kind.
Yeah, and the odd part is, this story is pulled from the Batman Superman comics. It's kind of a sequel. In the comics, it is, but in the films, it kind of is a sequel to Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. And I just can't remember in that continuity of comics or anything if he had fought Zod or not. So we don't know what other kind of Kryptonian interaction he had.
Yeah, it was all weird. I think he had fought Azod at some point, but it was like some Russian guy, and I don't know if he had like the spirit of Zod in him or something. It was a whole weird story.
So I just kind of look at the film as a pocket, like I connect it to the other film, and try not to think about the comic verse as much. So like you said, having the Kryptonian there, and I always thought it was interesting, the idea, like I like that Kara was older, was sent to protect baby Cal, but then she got stuck, and he grew up, and then she shows up the same age she was when she left, and just having her as that different, like Clark doesn't remember Krypton. He was a baby, he was an infant. He doesn't really have a tie to Krypton other than what he's learned or told. But Kara really suffers the idea of losing her planet because she has all the memories and has a life that was on Krypton before it was destroyed. And I think that's a really strong story that's not really touched on in this film, but it's something I think that brings a really strong sense to the character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just that whole, the whole Superman, and I guess in a way you could make the same comparison to Supergirl, but they always say, it's like the whole Bible story, the man from above sending his only son or daughter to Earth to save humanity.
Exactly. And, one of my theories is, at first was, with the Supergirl series, was kind of, what if they told it in a way that didn't, reference her cousin? But I guess they're going to bring, Superman in some capacity, and at least we know they reference him in the show. So it's interesting. But I thought it was cool when Clark, we get to meet Krypto, the great and powerful Kryptonian dog. Clark takes Kara shopping, and she pretty much adapts to being an Earth girl rather quick in the film, like her likes, her interests. I think, I always liked the relationship that when Supergirl, in the animated, when Supergirl meets Jimmy, they kind of have a thing together, a little bit of a fling. So, I always wish we could have got into that more with this, but I like that the idea of Darkseid taking over Kara and using her to be the leader of his Furies, to be the one person that could take on Superman, because they even say that she has the potential to be stronger than Superman, which I think is really awesome for her character.
Until Batman threatens to blow up all of Apocalypse.
Hey, he's Batman. He can pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
I love Batman, and there's just some of the lines that he has, like when they go to Big Barda and they ask for help, and she's like, I'm coming with you, get over it. And he's like, I'm over it. I like the way they draw Batman in this, and that's one thing I'm hoping that with the Batfleck films that maybe we'll get some of that imagery of, since we know that they're probably going to CG the cape a lot, much like they did Man of Steel, of him with the cape like in front and just kind of really just making that solid, creepy figure of Batman.
Yeah, I think they with the art they tried to get closer to what they actually did in the comic book for this storyline. I think was it drawn by Ed McGuinness, somebody. Yeah, and the art was pretty similar to the actual comic.
And that's one thing I really liked about it, was I liked that the art referenced the comic book art, so it was like the comic book really coming to life, much like some of the other films. Like of course, Dark Knight Returns did a good job of really making the comic book art come to life. So, we had Andre Braugher do the voice of Darkseid, which I thought was great. He had a nice, menacing tone for Darkseid. I always think it's interesting, like every time Superman fights, like it's like, all right, we need someone for Superman to fight. Who do we have? Darkseid or Doomsday? All right. I think Darkseid is like that huge villain that Superman can beat, but he is a challenge. Like in the third act of this, when Superman fights Darkseid, and just like some of the scenes of him using his heat vision, taking Darkseid's Omega beams, like the super speed of his fist, when he lifts up like a huge chunk of Earth and just flips it on Darkseid, I'm like, I love watching Superman just unleash on Darkseid.
Yeah, I mean, they like to try to physically challenge Superman, I think, anymore, so it's always like Darkseid or Doomsday. Even in the recent Justice League comic books, it seems like the only person the Justice League ever fights is Darkseid.
Yeah, I mean, we got the Darkseid Wars going on right now. No, one thing I did really like is when they're on Paradise Island, I thought it was smart that Supergirl is being trained by Wonder Woman. It only makes sense for her to be raised in that kind of environment as well. It kind of makes Superman a parental figure, Wonder Woman a maternal figure, and Batman like that really, creepy uncle.
No.
But it shows them all having an interest in her state because how important she is. But when they're attacked on Paradise Island and all those really weird rock-esque Doomsday clone thingies come out, and Superman just uses his heat vision and takes them all down, and then he has a slight remorse, and Wonder Woman even says they were never really alive. So it showed him he not wanting to kill, even though what he did do was not even really kill living things.
Yeah, but it just always struck me as weird. It's like Wonder Woman's like, I'm kidnapping your cousin.
Now that was interesting. Just she automatically thinks she has to do it. Not even coming to Superman like, hey, I have an idea. They just show up like, we're going to take her.
Yeah. I don't know if they were just playing up that whole Amazon angle, because that seemed more like a Batman move than a Wonder Woman move. But
yeah, I'm thinking it has an Amazon angle, or I'm trying to remember, like, it's been a while since I've read the comic, if there's any differences, like significant differences between the comic and the film. And I don't really think there is many. I know there is at the end, because I remember in the comic, they fake Supergirl's death with the Omega beams. Like, Darkseid thinks he kills her, and Superman goes nuts. This, they didn't want to play that up. I love that they just threw Darkseid in space. Like, they didn't, she reprogrammed his mother box and just chucked him into space. I'm like, that's, like I always said, if I was Superman and I was fighting Doomsday, I would uppercut him, fly up, grab him, and just chuck him into space. Boom. Yeah. Done.
Well, in the comic, is this the one, I think? Yeah, Superman took him and, like, put him in the source wall.
Yeah. And I think the change in that, this works when you're adapting to different medium, because for us comic fans who follow everything strictly, like the source wall, we get it. To the average film watcher who watches the stuff just because they love the characters on film, they might not quite grasp that deep of an idea.
Plus the animated movies, you only get 70-some minutes?
Yeah. And I'm like, I think it used to be like it would vary, and then I don't know, I have to go back and look at all of them, but now they're like to a straight 70, 76 minutes. I'm like, why not a good 90?
Yeah.
A good hour and a half solid animated film. Like,
especially these days, I mean, when they're all rated PG-13, you're not going for little kids anymore.
Yeah, you're not holding little kids' interest, you're holding us. You know what, I mean, not to just go on a tangent about the DC animated films, I like, in a sense, that the newer ones are a lot more connected, but at the same time, I still like getting those one-offs, that were based off graphic novels.
Yeah.
Like this one, Public Enemies, New Frontier, stuff like that. Now they're adaptions of graphic novel ideas, but they're all connected. But we'll see how that goes forward now that things are changing, like always. But I really like this movie for anyone who is trying to find something Supergirl. For anyone who has daughters and trying to get them into Supergirl, I think this is a great jumping point, just to bring out the character, to really kind of get to see her in action. She does kick some butt in this, which is really nice. They actually make her strong and powerful. Mm-hmm. I really like that. I like Big Barda as another strong character. Of course, Wonder Woman and the Amazons. So it's one of the few Disney. Oh my gosh, it's too early. One of the few direct to DVD films that DC has done that has Supergirl. The other we'll be talking about sometime with Superman Unbound, which features a strong Supergirl story. But can't go wrong with Batman and Superman. Any final thoughts there, Phil?
Yeah. It's one of the better done, I think, animated adaptations. So if you're a fan of any of the DC characters, I'd say pick it up.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I highly recommend it. I mean, I give it a a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
It's one of the better stories and just all around entertaining films that you can definitely watch over and again. I mean, I even picked. This is one of the few ones that I bought. Solomon's getting excited. Ears, but we're talking about Batman. And he's wearing his Batman onesie. I bought this one at Walmart for I think like $9, but it was a package. It was Apocalypse and Public Enemies together because I couldn't find them on separate discs anymore. I was like, you know what, that was a good buy. So if anyone's at Walmart, just browse through the videos or Target. See if you can find the combo pack or whatever. Pick them up. They're definitely worth having in your collection to pull out and watch and enjoy.
Oh yeah.
What would you rate this one?
I think I'd probably give it a solid 4.
Okay. See? 4 from Phil, 4.5 from me. It's definitely worth checking out, So, anything you want to talk about, Phil, on this quick impromptu episode? Really, people, this was just one of those things. Phil and I were talking yesterday. We knew we've been wanting to do this episode for a while. We wanted to do more with it, but we just been both so busy with all the other stuff we're into. And we're like, all right, let's do it in the morning. So here we are.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to remind people, if you like the interchange between me and Tyler, and why wouldn't you? You can hear us every week on Before the Bat, where we discuss all things Gotham with the lovely Miss Kelly. And coming up in the next week or so, the Flash Arrow Power Hour, where we talk all things Flash and Arrow with some other guy.
Yeah, some other guy. And also, as we joke now, we're going to have to change the show to the Flash Arrow Power Hour of tomorrow, because we're going to start talking about Legends of Tomorrow, getting into with that show coming and the ties. So it'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Well, as always, you can find us at Kyrpton Report Pod on Twitter. You can find me at JTYPatrick on Twitter. If you have any comments about the shows, ideas, anything, shoot us a message. We always listening for feedback. And where can we find you, Phil?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Nightwing PDP.
That's right, Nightwing, the character that needs his own TV show.
That's right. And
his own film. And you can find Solomon nowhere online. Just find him on my website. If you like his comments and his encouragement here for the pods, drop us a line. So stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to try to get a couple more out before the premiere of Supergirl. We got some great ideas. Just been really busy getting through the summer, and you'll be hearing from me again. So to all the Kryptonian fans, oh wait, there's one more thing. The TV show Kyrpton. We have some news. Ready? There is no news. So from me, Tyler, and Phil, have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the Kyrpton Report, the Supergirl podcast. Hit us up on Twitter at Kyrpton Report. Leave us a review on iTunes and let you know what you think, how the show can be better, your thoughts on Supergirl, and anything else you feel like chatting about. And I'll catch you next week.